start off tonight. We're going to talk about our first item of business, which is a site development plan for the Esch property located at West Haxton Road or North Main Street, parcel 05-10260-050. David, we talked about this a few times. This has come back. What was it? Last work session. Had this in front of us. We're kind of working through some details and some updates to this property. You want to take over from here, give us this kind of staff update, and then just let the applicant work through the outstanding items.
Yeah, I think we looked through this, like we've said a number of times, we all know where it's located up there south of Paxton Road, the intersection with ties in with 112/Main Street. Resubmitted, the new site plan. I think realistically, staff, from the engineering and city standpoint, I think everyone's okay with it. Had the plans pulled up here. So, the one thing that we did talk about at the last meeting was landscape, and they had some new landscape plan. We pulled it up specifically. And you should have it as the last page of your packet. I think that was really the main comments from the work session, or the, not work session, the last planning meeting, was just kind of centered around landscaping. So they sent this over last week.
Now we've got a stub out now that would be aligned, should that property to the north be developed as well?
Yes, so that was one of the things we talked about in the previous work session. They actually had the revised plans with that stub out at the last regular planning commission meeting, just for that cross connectivity there. We had talked about the location of it and pedestrian safety, but those are not ordering stalls. On the north side is just general parking. So I think we all felt like it would work there and not cause any additional concerns as far as from a safety standpoint or people going through, like trying to cut through the through connection from 112 to Paxton. But I know they have a representative here if you have any questions or anything that you want to go over from the previous meeting.
Braden Wines with Bates and Associates.
What's that?
There we go. Braden Wines with Bates and Associates. Yeah, we made those landscaping comments or adjustments and some back here all last week. So other than that, everything else that he's explained is spot on.
All right, so we've got landscape update.
So council had concerns about drainage?
That was just questions that were posed to me, and the concerns were just, off-site drainage going into the existing, I don't know what's called it other than the drainage rolling on the western boundary of this. I did explain to them that, they're actually taking, with the readjustment of the site where they were trying to squeeze it kind of into half and save part of the redevelopment, there's probably going to be actual less development there than there was potentially before. And they're also putting in a traditional pond as opposed to the underground detention. And obviously we felt like this was a better layout and would actually, this layout was better for drainage than even the previous one was. So I just was letting y'all know that, that was kind of one of the things they just asked me questions about when I was getting my staff report on council.
I'll try to speak to the landscape just a little bit. Things that we need to take note of that we might need to adjust. We need to show sod and the limits of disturbance on the plan.
Okay.
We need to ensure that our, looks like American smoke trees, those are not large deciduous shade trees that would be your street frontage. So we need to get a large deciduous tree for out front.
Okay.
The eastern redbud again needs to be a large deciduous tree because it's a guarding island tree. It doesn't need to be an ornamental. You have one that is still sitting on top of a utility. That will work. You also have English laurel as your screening plants. Just keep in mind for your client, those get 15 to 30 feet tall.
Okay.
And their survival rate here is kind of spotty. So you'll want to revise that maybe to like, your intent with that is about a 4-foot height just to block the headlights. So you don't need a full screen
Okay.
all around your parking lot. That would be a safety concern as well.
Okay.
That would be my comments on the landscape.
To replace it.
All plants need storm down. Everything outside.
David, are these meetings recorded?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, we know that.
Planning commissioners, what other comments do you have? What other questions may you have?
Nothing now. If y'all have any, I'll have any.
David, anything further?
No, sir.
Well, if there's not anything additional, you've got the next steps is to update that landscape, correct?
Yeah,
That's pretty much the outline, that's the outstanding items we have for the site development plan.
Where the
Yes.
stuff at goes, is that topography, what that's meaning? Is
So
that
we
a giant
showed-
grade change there?
yes, right now there is, but when the development to the north ties in, there's an access easement, they'll be able to adjust to those, our grades and our grades.
So as long as the plan has the access easement on there.
Yes, and we're showing it, so I want to say it jumps up pretty steep right there. So if we were to just provide it all the way to the property line, we'd be grading, and meet code everything, we'd be grading way over offsite, so we're providing as far as we can without grading offsite and impeding on that northern property owner. So when that northern property goes, they'll have to tie into our grades.
Is there anything additional, special, just to address that on the plat?
The only thing that we feel like we had discussed previously was from a planning standpoint, you know, future moving of cars and people and things like that was, you know, the cross access and how it was going to function. And then, you know, to me was, you know, would there be capacity where like this development could even tie it back here, you know, with this. But that's so hard to me to figure out where someone would want to. And they would have cross access here.
Yeah.
And then there's still no reason they can't have a right in, you know, on this side and a right out, you know.
A size that size would have 3 connections.
Yeah. Well, they're on the roundabout, and that roundabout has the 150 foot.
So it can be pushed back.
Yeah, that was the only concern with that side when we originally talked about it. So I agree,
Yeah.
a side of that size typically have 3 connections, knowing the obstacles that they would have. You know, they're looking at, you know, they probably won't be able to have something except for on this end or on this end.
Yeah.
And they're not most likely going to be able to take a left out of here, you know, right to the right. And this one could, you know, maybe tackle that, but
That's right. A month ago, we talked about an easement on the single-family zoning. I believe what's being asked for is a variance to encroach the rear setback. Because it's going to be attached to, it's a extension to the home. It's not an accessory structure. If I looked at the plans correctly, it looked like this was a screen porch addition. This is what's encroaching. Really kind of functions as an alley through this neighborhood. The home.
Looks like
Yeah,
the property to
to
the
the
north,
north.
looks like they've granted something to encroach into those setbacks, because it looks like that goes out.
further back, yeah.
And there you go. If you look at that porch extension there to that
The concrete,
northern home,
That, yeah, right there.
yeah, zoom back in, David.
and the concrete on the current property, that is actually what we'd like to go to. It's like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
That would be the 5 feet that we're asking for is to that point. Right now, it's just a little extra part patio.
David, it'd be interesting, it'd be interesting, is the part of that home to the north already looks like it's in that setback. So the question is, was it built like that and follow code,
Or did they already get?
or did they get a variance? I don't recall.
Well, I don't, yeah, there's no telling. I mean, I don't know how long the setbacks for the rear were 25 feet, and if this home was platted with those originally, because I'm, from a staff standpoint, I'm all about what we have in zone, not by original plats or anything like that. As far as I'm concerned, once we have something zoned, we get setback based on zoning, it's what it is, based on zoning, not based on any pre-existing or original plat. So that's, what I look like.
Well, when Bates did your site plan,
Yes, sir.
they should have pulled that off the original plats.
They were actually the ones that did the original site plan when the subdivision was put in.
Yeah, so they should have pulled that forward regardless of what.
They did, actually, I just didn't put the individual, it was small on, not by 13. And they had pictures of the actual, section of plats that they pulled.
So it was platted at 25.
I believe so, yes.
Because I'm trying to drill it down to, if it was truly platted at 25, then yeah, you're a variance, but if it was something less, then a variance would need to be needed.
Well, again, things, when people call and ask questions or they do those things, I base it on the zoning for what that area is.
Oh, I get it, it's for what, since it's an old subdivision, what was it platted at? Because this subdivision was platted
And
2005, maybe?
somewhere in there. Most of those homes were 2008 to 2012, I believe.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those were platted prior to the 2008, 2007, and then they sat vacant for several years. And so, I don't, in my opinion, I don't see a problem with the variance, especially. Utility easement, then you don't have to, and there's really not too much of an issue. The concrete that's existing pretty much sets you up where the boundary's going to be.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna, and if utilities were not put in utility easement, therefore it might create an issue,
Correct.
but,
Which we'll find out.
you'll find out.
Yeah, we're hoping because we will have to tear that out to do a footing.
I mean, I'd like to say that utility easements, everybody puts stuff in the right easement, but that doesn't necessarily happen.
I've seen that.
I've seen some crazy stuff. So.
This did not show, I mean, it shows dash lines, but it doesn't actually call out the setbacks in the plat. It just calls out 20 foot utility. That's what it is.
Okay. You guys tell me, see something different, right? To me, this is pretty cut and dry. Here in front of the BZA on the first,
Perfect.
have that public hearing.
So y'all don't need anything else to show?
I don't think so. I mean, what you illustrated, what you're asking for is adjusting the rear setback from 25 feet to 20.
Yes, sir.
In the building, just adjusting that building.
Correct.
Based on the property, I don't see that causes any other issues.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, next item of business. Start with the site development plan for CDI Engineering regarding a Walmart property located at 975 North Main Street, parcel ID 0510274009. You will recall this property is located along Highway 112 North Main Street near Sands and Wallace and right? Commercial property on the front. It has a PZD. Osage Meadows. Been through some different adjustments, we'll call it, over the last few years. So David, just jump right in.
So, yes. We've got a site liquor in the grocery store. I think everyone's fairly familiar with this property, considering the work that we've done there, the PZD and the recent track split off of that and all the rezoning work. The applicant has been working on this for some time with the city, looking at the site as a whole, numerous different things. We had a pre-submittal meeting 2 weeks ago, kind of went over some of the stuff that was going on site. They're currently in their second round of engineering review already, so feeling good about where we're at on this as a whole. They worked with RDOT to work on the intersection, and you can see where this spur is. That is, currently still showing there, but that's going to be an actual extension of Wallace at some point, because it's part of the roundabout, will be extended into the site. That was one of the things that the city said we would take ownership of. Essentially, I think what Mardon said, they wouldn't put the spur there, let it tie into the residents in the street. So, and taking into account in the future alignment with the road and all those things. Currently, temporarily will have a traffic signal there until we get into
Is that it? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
temporary traffic signal while they're down here through that. But I would welcome the applicant and y'all have any discussions and answer any other questions they have. That's exactly when I pull the plan up on the screen.
Good evening, I'm Candace Anderson with CEI. Is that the second submittal?
Say what?
Is that the second submittal? Looks like it is.
Okay, say aye.
We're good.
It should have been, the first one was on the comments, so on that one, so. Anyways, just decide. There you go. So there's general layout.
Overall site plan.
So what?
The overall site plan.
Yeah.
Mhm. You
I
can
think
see,
y'all have that on the back of your packet in a small form. It's C3 or C3O.
So that stuff that you're just describing, the traffic signal, how does that? How is that oriented on this site?
yeah, I can answer. So, the stub is the little leg just west of the drive. And we have predetermined and have pre-approval from RDOT that extension of Wallace on the west side of that leg.
Okay.
Now, when the traffic signal comes in, it'll be at Wallace and Highway 112.
Were they currently intersected?
Yes, where it tees into 112. Yes, exactly. Yes, it does kind of a funky thing, but yes, it'll be a four-way traffic signal, permanent traffic signal until RDOT comes in and does the roundabout improvements. And that could be 5 years from now, we don't know.
They're going to realign Wallace, if I'm not mistaken, kind of how they
Yes.
are around road down here on the south end of town. And they're taking Wallace and they're actually bringing it, in.
Curving it.
From the last, yeah, more square to more where, my understanding is it will look more like a true intersection.
Yes. So we've prepped the site to accommodate that, those improvements, future improvements of RDOT and the roundabout.
So it's gonna be a temporary, permanent traffic light.
Yes and no.
Traffic light for a temporary period.
So, yes, exactly. It'll be a permanent but temporarily, yes. Temporary in terms of Not a year. It'll be more than a year. Until who knows when. That's right.
It's not a mobile-like situation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It'll have the permanent masts and the appropriate signalization that's needed for permanent masting.
It's gonna look like, what is that, Pleasant River axle?
Okay.
You know, say it down here, but given the size of this intersection, it's probably gonna be more like Pleasant River axle, obviously, it's gonna be, you know, larger span.
Were there any amendments to the PZD that was being asked for?
No amendments.
Sorry.
None.
Well, it looks like there's a variance.
Well, I'm sorry. Yes, the variance that will be in the next. Yes, that does come in play with this one. That's correct.
Well, we can talk about it, entertain
Sure.
it, we'll need two separate staff reports for it. Because the variance has the landscape plan attached at the back of it. And we can move to that, you know, I just put the overall size on this staff report and the landscape plan.
So the adjacent, in the PZD, in the way this was set up, we've got commercial properties. Let's see, David, can you go back to the aerial for that?
Yeah, let's look that up.
I know that there was, this changed a little bit from the way it was originally established.
The original PCD.
Yes. And I need to reflect back on where we were at previously, because this lot size changed. Is that?
Yes, the original lot was smaller,
Yes.
and, you know, there was some residential behind it. And
Yes.
the original site layout showed a road connecting the two of them, but it went over this wetland area and the spring. And, you know, they, as in the original PZD applicants, you know, even at one point showed taking that road out. And then, given this, you know, whole area right here, I think when we did the split, it just made more sense to let this site stand alone as opposed to trying to cross it. And then, you know, letting this area have its three commercial lots with the residential behind it.
It doesn't disturb their parcel, and their layout no longer disturbs that wetland and no longer disturbs the downstream of that spring, that natural spring head. And we also remain out of that location as well.
So then you'll have a detention pond that's located on that western edge
Correct.
with the back of the store then basically near the detention pond. And so it's going to sit in right around where the mouse is, there the cursor is.
Correct.
With parking in between and the fuel station out. Kind of where the, right there, yeah, in that
Yes.
area there, correct?
Yes, correct.
And the fuel placement in the watershed, I presume that's, I'm making presumptions, all the engineering and everything's been complete, and that can be placed that close to the Illinois watershed.
Yes, we actually did a mass flood study, not only for the site itself, but also for Highway 112. We also did a traffic study specifically for RDOT as well, which encompassed the flood study. And we do have our boundaries that were determined based off that report on the plans. We've mitigated, yes. Yeah. And with the minor mitigation or minor encroachment into what the report shown in the flood study, we mitigated those areas into our pond, so that way it was captured and we didn't have to worry about any additional encroachments. So we have a little bit of grading within the flood studies zone versus the FEMA zone, and we mitigated all of that, like I said, in the detention pond.
The fuel tanks are located furthest, nearest to the highway.
Correct.
Those are underground?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
So talk to us more about this variant we're going to commingle the two here, because the next thing is the PZD requires certain things, and there's a variance we can pass as it relates to the medians, parking medians.
So our request for the variance is to omit the required parking lot landscape islands. We do have really tight topographical constraints on this site due to the floodplain. And in order to provide the correct amount or the required amount of parking and the location of the building and the detention with the constraints of RDOT, the placement of the parking lot was constrained on both the north side and the south side due to those topographical features and hardships with RDOT. There is actually an existing spring head just north of the parking lot we are trying to stay away from as well. We do not grade in that location. And the parking lots, in replace of those parking lot islands, we've added the same amount of landscape to the perimeter.
Okay, so you're asking to offset parking
Yes.
median landscape into another location.
Correct.
What locations would that be offset to?
I don't have the exact locations, but the number count on the amount of trees and shrubs is within the landscape plans.
So what's on the landscape plan is all that is intended.
Yes, and I hope that you have the submittal number 2. What is the date on that one?
It's so tiny, I can't read.
I know when I zoom in on here,
Yeah,
it
it's
buzzes it
Well,
out.
it gets totally
Gets
fuzzy.
fuzzy.
Oh no.
It's like reduced now.
So the computer is being
This
slow.
is 7.
I can't, when I zoom in, I can't tell what sorry?
7 something.
Oh, mine says 812 with Sarah Bryant.
That's correct. So that's the second side. Yes.
Yours?
Yeah, I need to
Oh.
find it now to get it.
Okay.
But it's still, I'm not seeing that, like,
The landscape count.
it almost looks like it's just, from what I can zoom in, to the north, the parking stalls don't even have any shrubs to buffer those headlights or anything.
To buffer which area?
To the north,
There.
it looks like it should have some shrubs or something. It says parking buffer area north and northeast, but that's a different.
Oh, there we go.
You have a difficult time
I
opening.
am having a difficult time.
Okay.
It is not wanting to show blank pages and then away from the.
Yes, so on my plan that I can zoom in as far as I can, it's only showing sod in front of those parking stalls.
On the north side that are facing north?
Let me see what the north.
Do you mind if I come over and look at it?
Yes, it appears to be just sod patch, right?
Yes, so there's a retaining wall here. It's on the north side. This is all
It seems
free.
like it's holding back.
Yes, because these are all EV charging stations. And this slopes downward towards the creek. And all of this is all landscape here. So it's all natural. It's not going to be disturbed along the property boundary here.
Seems like there's the shrub patch.
goes straight down. Yes, it goes straight down. Correct. No. Nothing can be developed here, just a creek. And then bridge. Yes, the creek is, I'm sorry. The creek is right here. And then there's that little bridge that crosses somewhere as well. So this is all creek. And natural streams. That's where the floodplain is.
So what's the council installed thing we're doing, like, for our normal county? What's the quantity?
That you remove.
Well, that you're asking for a variance to remove from your.
So we're asking not to remove the parking, but we're asking to remove
I know the islands.
The islands.
Did it account for how many people are having elsewhere, so they
I'm not sure on that answer as far as how many would, if that's ever needs to be installed. Yeah, 15. That's right. Yes, they're on the side.
Okay.
Yes, those are correct. These are the markings here. Also around the detention basin too. We do have trees on both sides of the EV charging station there. We just don't have anything beyond it because it slopes significantly. And there's a sanitary sewer easement just beyond those EV station as well. Do you mind bringing up that aerial of the site? The aerial?
The GIS area will nothing on
Please, please. Oh, you're gonna have to. There we go. So there's the creek I was discussing just north of the site there. So there wouldn't be any development within that floodplain. Just beyond the northern portion of the property. And the trees that are along the northern perimeter, the existing trees along the northern perimeter will remain. They're not going to be demolished.
The way you're showing that stuff in this map versus now,
I know.
showing plants is,
It's a little deceiving.
yeah, it is not very good. Well, with these, you can't go by.
Right. Yeah, that's just heavily wooded. Just wooded up to the creek there.
Yeah,
have shrubbery here. I don't know what I'm saying, it's leaving the site. Here, it's leaving the site, other than those. I think, I mean, I understand what you're saying about the creek, but if you look at just units on the site where the EV station's at, that's the only place that doesn't have any headlight barricade.
So with the site complexities of the sanitary sewer, we had to bring that sanitary sewer all the way to the north side of the site where those EV charging stations are, and we cannot hit our inverts without it being as close as possible to that retaining wall at the EV charging stations. In addition, just north of our property, it's heavily wooded, and that is unbuildable land.
What's the cover on your sewer line? Because I feel like you can plant a row of shrubs because they're root balls, not like a tree. We're not asking for trees, we're asking for our standard like shrubs, just like we just had this gentleman with their headlights. It's a row of shrubs, not trees, that we're asking for.
And
Right.
the same thing everywhere else in the site. You added those where it's leaving the site, like the parallel spots that are to the southeast. You've indicated shrubs along those parking stalls.
So
And
on
it
the
looks like
south,
there's a row of sod there where you're gonna have maintenance, people are gonna have to come over and mow. Where you can just have a-
I'm sorry, which location?
In front of your EV parking.
Oh, yeah. That cannot be maintained because that is on a steep slope.
No, what I'm saying is that where your wall is at,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like you have a sod right in front of your wall,
Mm-hmm.
in front of your parking. So there, I'm saying that strip, instead of it being sod, which would be a maintenance concern,
Mm-hmm.
it might be better to just go ahead and do the shrubs that we're asking.
Okay.
And then you block your headlights, you get your shrub count there, and we're meeting our landscape code in that area.
Are we not meeting the shrub count at this time?
No, you're not blocking your headlights from those parking stalls on the perimeter there. You just have a drop off, and you have the cars that are going to be parked for charging will be there.
I think my pushback is that that's straight to raw land, straight into a floodplain creek. And my
What-
push,
What's the pushback on adding some shrubs to stop the headlights at those 12 spots?
we can add them, sure,
That seems-
I mean,
absolutely.
that seems to be the right thing to do, instead of saying, I've got a creek over here, and
What-
that's natural, leaving it, I don't wanna do it because there's a creek there.
Sure.
One, the limits of disturbance are taking out a good chunk of trees anyway.
So if you're familiar with EV charging stations, they require significant conduit, and that's just beyond that sidewalk. So if we're adding the shrubs beyond that, we can do that, and that'll be within the sanitary sewer easement. What kind of shrubs are you interested in adding there?
You can just match what's on the rest of the side.
Okay. We'll definitely do that.
Thank you. As far as the variance for the parking lot islands, my only concern with that would be I would want to see the count, and I would want to see that it's reflected elsewhere on the site. I understand that we want to give the hardship reason of the constraints of the site just because they're known to have long parking rows, if we want to go with that. But I also would say that's the hottest part of the parking lot, is all those parking stalls. There's no trees, will be in the middle out there for us as a city. So that might be something to think through. Every other project that comes through will require that.
It is significant. We're asking for a reduction, then it would be a reduction in parking stalls.
I know, I think I'm asking like maybe 6 parking stalls though. I'm just wondering what's the impact.
That would reduce down to the required parking for the store itself, and also Walmart's required parking for the store and its count. And it's, like I said, it's a very constraining site. We have a lot of complexity surrounding this site to add or widen the additional parking.
I would like to see that count to be able to know what number we're looking at.
And how would you like to see that? Would you like to see it in a,
Total number of parking stalls, and then tell me how much our code says we need parking islands and parking trees, and then see where we're placing those trees elsewhere on the site to offset it. But does it say how many parking islands are being left out? Okay, that's what I'm asking.
She's asking for the omission quantity of.
I wanna know what we're not getting, and if we're actually getting it elsewhere on the site. Because the intent of a parking island tree is to offset the heat, as we all know it's hotter than hot right now. And we're giving that up, and even if we say we're sticking it out in the sod, which is already less hot, I just wanna make sure we know as a commission what we're doing.
we can add a table to the side for that.
So you said that Walmart has their own standards on parking and stuff?
Yes,
I would presume that's more parking spaces than the city would require.
yes, typically.
Square footage wise, I'm curious, what would the square footage of this store versus the one at Pinnacle, the neighborhood market be? Because they have parking islands with plant material in them.
Theirs is different just because that was built so many years ago versus what our prototypes are now. And the numbers have changed. And also City of Rogers is really a robust municipal code.
I think that's what I want the commission to hear. We can do it over at Rogers, but we can't do it in Kingston.
That's where
And
my
I
thoughts
think
was going is,
That's my issue, is that we do care about our city as well.
Oh, of
And
course.
we're asking for parking islands and trees, which is a requirement for the guy that's putting in the Sonic. It's a requirement for other people that are coming into our city, and Walmart's.
just another business.
So I have a question. Would you, instead of it being internal every 10 stalls, what about the end caps? Can we work on maybe providing you landscape on the end caps?
Are those not already landscaped?
No, those are striped.
Well, see,
Oh,
you
that's
got,
not
if you got stripes there, you got room.
Then that would.
You're okay with end cap versus
I'm okay
internal?
with that, I'm saying you should have both, that's our city code.
I mean, to me, you're playing games with that by striping it. I mean, put the
People are
end
gonna
caps
park
in.
and drive wherever, if those are striped, that would be another concern that we would wanna look at, I would think. Is engineering not looking at this, as far as, you said we're on our second round of comments?
That should have been marked up.
Well,
That should have been read out.
Okay.
Well, I don't like the variance idea, for the record.
No. Yeah, no. The end caps, you're saying none of those have plant material in them?
That's correct, they're striped.
I would talk about
Not on
that.
board.
No. This isn't just a sea of asphalt.
That's what
So
we got.
it's going to cause a lot of site constraints.
I understand, but
We're
Work
talking
on it.
significant.
I understand.
Work on it.
But every other person that comes in our city abides by our code. That's gonna be terrible
Yeah.
views, and it's right there as you come into our city. And it's gonna be so hot.
I think Walmart has the resources to figure it
follow and do the same for every applicant that comes into the city.
Understood.
Any questions for us?
No,
Is that everything?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe so, unless you have anything more.
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next item of business. Let's talk about general discussion for development plan for DP Development, Bates and Associates for property located at 10428 South Morning Star Road. Parcel 18093260000, 18093180001, 1809020000.
Red Miles Bates again. This is just our concept. We just want to get general ideas. We're not really diving into the depth of the engineering. We just want to see what y'all's thoughts, y'all's initial thoughts were on our layout, where we've got our streets, and what we're proposing, buildings and all that. Start with we're proposing 236, give or take, single family lots, 55 feet wide, 115 feet deep. And then we are proposing some townhomes over to the east. Now we've got a certain number of lots shown right now, but that would kind of be up to if y'all want duplexes, 3s, 4s, 6s, how many y'all would allow on a townhome if townhomes are allowed here. So we're just kind of seeing what y'all's initial thoughts are.
This is not necessarily what it is right now.
No, it's not.
It's not simple. Well, and y'all will remember, there was discussion at one point about creating like a 10 or 12 lot, 1 acre parcel subdivision on like just this section.
That's right.
It came to us, maybe approximately a year ago, last year sometime. And, some of the concerns and discussions that we had with that was, we know this was going to develop, but then, what did that look like, as far as cross access, to get these people somewhere else to, potentially get out on Morningstar or come in. And there was just some concerns with not being good stewards of, future growth and knowing that, you're going to have development here, they're going to need different ways out. So from a staff standpoint, this was sent over a couple of weeks ago, reviewed it. Kind of the only thing, just the general layout that I had comments on was this collector that we had shown on our Master Street plan, that aligns, should align with Trillium development to the south of it. Granted, there's other parcels between them, but, that was where Murdoch kind of went straight. And we went into the Trillium, so this, should relatively align with that as far as, future street connections to the road. That's really the only thing I had at this point as far as comments. There was, numerous other stub outs. There's a stub out on Morningstar. There's 2 stub outs to the north. Potentially.
Yeah, we're showing one. That one in the far northeast corner stops right before. I want to say there was some existing conditions. Yeah, I want to say there's some existing conditions why we didn't extend out. But like I said, this is just conceptual. See what y'all think.
Yeah, conceptually wise, anything that I had comments on the planning standpoint, just getting the collector.
Single family lots.
These,
Those will be townhome lots.
No, the rest of them. What are the lot sizes?
55 by 115. So,
55 by, so we're looking at what zoning?
oh, it has to be like
R4.
No,
ECD.
Yeah,
6,323
6
square feet.
units per acre.
First off, how we move that many people?
How do we do that?
Yeah. how do we move that many people? My initial gut when I first saw this was too tight, too crowded in, or sardine canning in. That's my opinion.
And those long blocks, that's a lot of houses with that.
Yeah, we can add block length requirements, add cut throughs and stuff.
My next thought was it looks like the cookie cutter concept of 20 years ago.
We're all trying to steer away from straight lines and everything like that.
Part of the reason is to take advantage of the nature that Cave Springs offers. What is it different from the rest of the surrounding communities? And that's compact grid. Looks like several of the other areas. It doesn't. It takes away from the uniqueness of Cave Springs. That's my initial.
Would you also want
Initial
that collector as straight as possible to move traffic as smooth as possible? Or is that
like
applied?
yes.
What's
I mean,
this
it's-
property like? Is it
It's fairly-
completely flat?
It's very flat side. It's just a big hayfield.
You could collector, I mean, this end, I would say needs to stay where it's at, collector-wise, because that is what's happening in Renlock, and it's collector. I personally don't have an issue with collector.
That would be my suggestion, is keep that collector at least as straight as possible. To keep.
Yeah, but that's one street.
We can take a look at the other streets with.
I think, you know, something that could be done is this road could go through, actually by the east-west corridor,
Yeah.
as opposed to having to drive around through, you know, actually dividing, you know, a corridor that could offset and come down through there. That was kind of other, general thought.
Yeah, we'll take a look at those blocks and make sure. That's net.
I really don't like venturing outside of that smallest zone. I mean, we're condensing this down here. This is what the ask is, and I'm not on board with that.
We're 6 to 12 units per acre, what's truly done. And I think that's the closest one there.
Yeah, it's more dense than what Trillium is.
Yeah.
Trillium was at right around 6, if I recall.
With their,
Even with their condo.
yeah, that's what I was saying, with their,
But the way they
College boards.
the way they distributed that all around, you've got larger with smaller, so you had a nice mix.
they distributed the lot sizes amongst the development in different locations where it wasn't.
It's not just
just a bunch of small ones right next to each other, and then all a bunch of slightly larger than small ones everywhere else.
So if we were to go with this, with the townhome and some of these smaller lots, y'all would also like to see some of these bigger lots if we were to go the PZD route? Or is the PZD route kind of off the table? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't think it's on the table.
Yeah, it's not off the table, but I think it's a tough ask to see everything compact.
Okay.
Smaller than our horizontal.
So if we have small lots, you want big lots, kind of a shotgun lesson.
And one of the things that we did with Trillium was we said, put your larger lots on the boundary.
Okay.
So you're making a transition, because you're already in the rural area, you have larger estate lots that's out there that's been created in the county.
Okay.
You've got some farm property. So how do you transition from those larger lots to the smaller, instead of it just in your face and behind it.
Okay.
So it's creating those rings.
We might get a few, David, we might get a few hands for that concept, or that layout, if that's fine.
What size houses would you be putting on a 55 by 115?
You went probably 28 to 4,000.
Whoa. You have to go tall.
These sizes aren't any different than what Lexington does. They're the same size lots on their houses if you've been in their subdivisions.
Well, all their subdivision case rings are 70.
They're usually
70
feet.
Because they were on R3 zoning, which required 80-foot wide, and we did some variances on those to allow for 70.
Y'all did R3 zoning variance for 70.
We did. Okay, that's why R4 got created.
Okay.
Okay, because we were having different questions for those coming in, all right?
Okay.
So R4 zoning would exist.
Okay.
But I think when you look at what's unique about Cade, is, and no one's against the housing and the format, is how do we keep and maintain some of the uniqueness of this area and not make it look like some of the others, just any other city in Northwest Arkansas? How do we retain that?
Yeah.
And that's the goal. Okay. And just the cookie cutter idea of 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, if we can move past that,
Okay.
I think we get a better product for the community as a whole.
Yeah, we'll talk with our developer and see what all plans we can come up with. See if we can spruce it up some. Kind of steer away from what you're describing, from what this shows.
And then it's just moving people, right? So how do we, that's
a bigger concern throughout the city.
throughout the city, and as it grows and moves, how many of these roads are dirt roads, right?
Yeah.
How many of them don't have easements?
Yeah. It's always fun to design around. So.
The other stuff would be drainage, just making sure we're attending to drainage.
Yeah.
I see there's 3 allocated areas.
Yeah.
Is that enough? I'll start to decide.
Yeah, we've not dove that far into it yet, but we do have that in mind. So.
I think you work with David. David can show you some of the other projects that are on the table. Not saying copy those ideas, but I think there's things to borrow from to give you to inspire, give you some inspiration.
Okay.
But I think you'll see some neat things that's being done.
I know there was a different layout from before, but when you added that other road, because we assumed Murdoch had to go through and do that other road, so we were originally trying to go. And then the road got moved over, which kind of like messed up the inside and stuff on the inside. So I guess this is where mine can go.
Well, you mean the future master street plan?
Yeah.
Well, master street plan is a guide,
Yes, I understand.
so it's not like hard and fast where it's got to be.
Yeah, because originally the road that ended up getting cut in the middle, the proposed collector, originally that was over on, Murdoch running straight on through. Originally, or what that was the original plan was supposed to be.
And they ran it with a
But when this road here got stuck in.
There was a cemetery, that was in the way, or anything right on that?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah, I went and saw it from one machine, go straight
Yeah,
down. And
because I know the developer to the north of this property he's having to make adjustments to, looking at that.
planning commissioners, you need more input, thoughts?
I agree with what you guys stated.
larger lots mixed with smaller lots, and it's not so boxy.
Green
You
space.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Working on the green space.
and that changes how it feels.
Kim, you have any other insights?
Perfect. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. David, do you have anything else that you want to discuss in this work session?
I don't have anything to do at this time.
So we have a public hearing on the first, which is a Thursday. Tuesday, sorry. Tuesday.
That's my fault.
Tuesday. Thank you. Tuesday. And then we have our regular scheduled work session will then follow the third Monday, correct? Or is it 2 weeks after?
It's like the 20th, something like that. 21st. Yes, sir.
Two weeks following, yeah, it'd be not the third. Yeah, there's the